This is Sam Daly of Cultural Group Benefit Company, a group life insurance designed for cultural association. We've done this program now for 21 years. The program is approved in 46 states. It's a group life insurance program. I want to emphasize it's a group life insurance program for cultural association, guaranteed without any pre-existing medical conditions. Please, cultural community, there's no need for GoFundMe. We have a program designed for cultural association. Please, if you want to know more about this program, visit our website, www.culturalgroupbenefits.com, or call me directly, 763-593-5107. Thank you.
Hello everyone over there in Africa and the diaspora. Welcome to Ali Naimal Talk Show at Tempo Africa TV. There are some few fun facts that I'm going to speak with you guys about today and how we the people can make a difference in our society today, especially with Corona going around doing what Corona does, and many countries have fully reopened and went back to what we used to know or what we thought was normal. Still with some few restrictions there, but not as much anymore. So starting with some of the few countries in Africa, let's start with Uganda. So in Kampala, Uganda, the country is fully reopened. Everyone can go back to school. There's no mandatory of anything related to COVID. And also all the clubs are open. All the nightlife is open. People are jamming constantly day and night. So many musics are really starting to come back to life. And people are just really starting to get back to their social, their excitement, the things that, you know, that still keep us as a happy human. So that's what's going on in Uganda. So big up to the president of Uganda for allowing the people to live their life again, especially children being at home throughout the whole entire pandemic. You guys have already seen a lot of reports on how it affects the children and how it affects our regular livelihood and all of the other problems and dark symptomatic issues that have rise up in the COVID period. So now going forward, hopefully that percentage will come back down as people start to gradually get back to their regular life and enjoy their freedom again without all of the much of the restrictions. And I will continue back on the percentage of the things that have rise up in Africa and also how that can be brought that back down, because it's been a long time since we all had to deal with COVID-19, and it really had turned many hearts towards against one another. But now going to Ethiopia, meanwhile in Ethiopia, while there is still war and there's still a lot of problems going on in Ethiopia, including all of the condolences we can give out to the people in Tigray that are facing the famine and all the issues that are happening, things are starting to open back up for Ethiopia. Things are starting to normally get back to normal, especially with all the diaspora that are traveling to Ethiopia. Last year, there were so many challenges with the visa, where you land in the airport, and then from the airport, they take you straight to the embassy, and that's where you get your visa. And sometimes with the way system and everything processed there, of course, in the whole Africa in general, it could take hours and days to get such things like that done. So I don't know how they've been functioning it, but the good news is, you know, things can be a lot easier now. People can still continue to travel back into Ethiopia, and everything is still pretty normal, especially from a lot of the feedback that I have received too from the people currently living there in Ethiopia as well. Now, during the soccer tournament, if anyone has watched that, Ethiopia were one of the earliest teams to arrive and also the first team to go back to their country. It's not a good look, quite a bit embarrassing look. And the story behind that is there were some prejudice and unequal balance that took place during the game. Now, Ethiopia is known for many different regions and diversity of ethnic. The tallest people are mostly like in the Afar region, Amara, and Gambela people as well. Now, some of the teammates had to sit back in the bench, and there was really no explanation. But more blame fell on the coach, and the coach was removed from coaching the team again, which is something a lot of people demanded from the unequal justice that he has done to some of the teammates that deserve to play or that were really good defense during the soccer game. And, you know, the outcome could be, you know, was it because when the team was sat out, it causes the whole entire team to fail as well. So the only lessons Ethiopia can get out of this is that do not discriminate against the teammates. You know, everyone has a role in the soccer game. So whenever we exclude one from the rest of the team, the whole team fails. So that's some of the fun facts we can share with you from Ethiopia as well. And including the rest of the countries in Africa, there's a lot of reopening going on, and African countries are starting to get back to the normal system, especially with COVID-19. So now we're going to touch back up on either the ending the pandemic or the herd immunity have finally been met. And these are the things that we are leading to in the next couple months, especially during this entire year of 2022. So there's a good sign that this could be the end of it. Or everybody could have developed the herd immunity, and that now everyone can go back to living with the pandemic as a flu, just like they normally live with the flu. And I'm going to give you guys some few examples from some of the places that have already removed mandates. So here in the U.S. and some of the states, the mandates have been removed for vaccine and also for face mask mandate as well. So some of these largest cities that have, you know, submitted to these restrictions have been fighting a lot of protests and going out against the mandate, and now the Supreme Court have ruled against it. So there's no more mandate going on. And also, the CDC still holds everybody accountable, wear face masks if needed, and also to get vaccinated, and as well as, you know, knowing when you're sick, you know, you'll be held responsible for that, to stay home when you're sick, communicate with your people. Yeah, so sort of like the old time in the late 90s and the 20s, if you guys remember that. Those days, we used to have 6 days from work and from, you know, our labor jobs. We used to have 6 days. I remember those. I mean, I was really young. I probably, you know, didn't have a job at that time yet, but let me just say mid-2000s, you know, with when I finally experienced work. So there are some jobs, they'll give you 6 days leave, and then you'll have paid 6 days leave, you know. So that's starting to come back, which is good news. Some of the companies are starting to implement that, because the main problem with what the pandemic has shown us is that before the pandemic happened, we were so busy that we did not have sick days. We also did not have much time with family, and we also did not have much time for ourselves either. So once the pandemic happened, this has reshaped the society to know that we can do all of those things. We can function in a society where we can be flexible as well. And those are some of the really great news, you know. And we are adults. We can be responsible. We can also be cautious with our surrounding and observe as well. So those are some of the positive things that, you know, the pandemic has taught us, and also has changed the system as well. Some of the things that would take away our freedom, like freedom of speech and freedom of right in medicals, what we choose our body to do, and all those things are things that the leaders are finally starting to realize that, you know what, we have to leave it to the people and God, because those are our own personal choice. What you put in your body, it is your choice, obviously. So the leaders are starting to wake up to that. They're starting to realize that. And also, giving the people the guidelines and the standards and trusting the people to follow those things and to still keep everything at a bare minimum. So those are wonderful fun facts and updates that I could share with you all, especially through the pandemic. Some people may take it as a really terrible thing, and some people may take it as a really positive outcome. Many people have, understood their own self-worth from before that. And I could say myself, as the jobs that I've been doing before the pandemic, it was great because I was working my own job, I was working my own company. But there are also times where you learn along the way that you can stand your ground, you can develop your business, you can tell people that these are the guidelines that the company work with and that they have to follow it, instead of going through burnout or going through excessive amount of work. And we can work a lot smarter and not be too hard to ourselves to the point where we burn out in this society as well. So those are some of the positive things that I could see happening going forward for whatever we have learned throughout the pandemic, and also how we can compare it from the past to now and what we can do better and differently going forward. So those are some of the updates according to all the vaccines and the mandates. Now, some of the downfall the pandemic has created in Africa, specifically I'll say Kenya, there is an abuse against women, and it has become an epidemic that's been going on for a while now. And most of these women, two people, they fall in love, they get married, they have a great life, and then you wonder what happened that would turn your lover into your worst enemy. And some of these violence have really rise up to a much higher percentage. And those percentages are what I was going to mention earlier, that the problems in Africa, if they could be limited down to 20 and 10%, then at least the world can function normally and go around, because no one wants to raise a child in a society where there's a higher percentage of violence and also destruction in their nation as well. So with the epidemic of violence against women in Kenya, BBC has covered that. There's a cover story on it. So if any of you are interested to check it out, I would say go check it out. It is a very, very interesting and fascinating story. And it's very shocking too, very disturbing, that the abuse that these women go through and the traumatized that these children get affected by it. Things like that are what turns our social norms into a different whole society. And I'll mention a little bit too, even in Ethiopia, Sudan, and other countries as well, where it's easy for your phone to get robbed or to be stolen. One kid responded back to me and said, "Yeah, don't worry, it is normal." Things like that should not be normalized, And that is the problem with many society, is when we normalize the negative that is going on in the country, it becomes a part of our life, and it's easy for the criminal to access and do whatever they want to do. So it's definitely important to not normalize those things. So, and it's sad, it made me feel sad, the way he said it, he said it like it was a normal case, it's supposed to happen, or it's been happening, so we just let it be. Things like that as human, once we recognize those are not normal things, we can stand up against it, we could be more vigilant, and we could be more protective and go forward into creating plans on building better societies. And no world's perfect, no man is perfect, but at least if the goodness of the country is 50% or more, then the rest are all minors. Then they could be dealt with in individual cases or individual situations as well. And so those are some of the really important things I want to share. And some of my keynotes is what we need to do to start owning up to our own thoughts. Now, how we can own up to with some of the previous experience we have experienced before the pandemic is many of our generation, especially just say the millennials and going down. There's a lot of entitlement. There's so much entitlements. We become entitled to what we are gifted to do in our purpose. And once we become entitled to those things, then we put too much cap on it, you know. We put too much cap on it. And then we become too restricted to give it to those people that are meant for it. Because the whole reason of a purpose is a gift or a talent that you have to help other people. Your work is for others to rise up. And that's why many companies, there are partnerships, there are sponsors, there are corporates, there are people, there are a team that works together. No one makes it alone in this society. No one makes it alone. So if you're gifted and your work is amazing and somebody else like it, you know, you give them your deals, you give them your price and all of those things. And also, you know, to be able to work as a teamwork. So entitlement is really pushing a lot of us in our own solo grounds where we lose more clients or we lose more marketing and we lose connections because no one wants to work with someone that is very greedy or very selfish of their own purpose or they're just too entitled because that's where the trust is mostly broken. You don't know if you're going to get your stuff back later. You don't know if it's going to be done on time. You don't know if they're going to do it with all of their heart, with all of their might. They don't know if they're going to put their love into it. So those are some of the keynotes that I would like to share with you guys on some of my thoughts. And then also, we need to get ourselves out of the slavery mindset. So this slavery mindset, it goes differently for a lot of people, you know. We have this blame game where there's not a lot of accountability or we don't look into our problems. Whenever we see our problem or something that is happening to us or to our people, we blame other people. There was a video that I watched and it was very captivating and it really changed my perspective differently and it was about the preparation. So the preparation, yes, is a great idea. It's a brilliant idea. And a lot of people agreed with it, you know. They love the idea of preparation. But by the time the people who were to collect the preparation to give to the black families, when they go around and ask people and say, are you willing to donate this much money? Can you give this much money so we can give it to the black people who deserve the reparation? Majority of them say things like, you know, I'm very cautious about my money, or I'm broke, I'm struggling with myself, I don't have money right now. So that really opened up the book is who is going to pay that, especially when you're living in a society where there is many different cultures, many different ethnic, and also biracial children, who's going to pay for those things. You have one kid that is black, and maybe you have another kid that is mixed. And what is the mixed kid going to do? Is the mixed kid going to pay reparation to himself, or is he going to pay the reparation to the one that is darker skinned than him? So those are just, you know, things to think about and how we can challenge ourselves. And, you know, we don't want to be out there and humiliate ourselves as well to think that an idea that can be so good, we embrace it so much and then we share it on it and think that, you know, hey, it's a great idea. But when the reality kicks in, it becomes a whole different story. So this is where we, you know, going forward, best thing we can do is learn to grow in life, play your cards, and also how to manage life as well. If you have any business or you have any plans or you have any talent, lay down your plans. How are you going to go? Who are you going to be connected with? Because any success is all about connecting with the right people and also never giving up. As long as you keep pushing into it in whatever you are doing in life, eventually it will come around and the right people will come close and come in contact with you. And with God, anything is possible, because if you put your faith and all your trust in Him, there are a much higher chance that He will guide you and walk you through it, you know. Like there's a saying, I will walk with you, but I won't do it for you. So whatever the starting of your vision is and the end of your vision, you don't know what's going to happen in between. That's where you leave it up to God and you do your part. Whatever you are in control of, you take charge of that. Whatever is not in your control, then you leave it to God. My last keynote is we can do greater things together as one. You know, there's a saying, a unity. If one house is united, nothing can stand against them, right? People that are united, that have their hands together and work together, they cannot fall, okay? So a lot of what you see during the protests and all that stuff, when you have a group of people that stand up together and the world speaks the same language, the bigger rulers cannot pass that. They cannot overcome the people. The people can overcome the leader. And that is with a lot of restrictions and a lot of the things that are happening, and also the isolation and being alone is like separating people into their own thoughts. And usually when we are trapped in our own thoughts, that's where our biggest fear comes. And everything we listen to and everything we hear around us, we start to absorb into that, and fear start to develop as well. So once fear grows and it becomes a part of you, then you no longer have trust in anyone else or to cooperate with anyone else in how you guys can stand together as a team to overcome certain things. And I believe that's something a lot of people are starting to realize and waking up into right now, with a lot of these wonderful changes that are taking place as well, is that hopefully people will remember that unity is everything. When the whole community stand together, when the whole tribe stand together, or when the whole nation stands together, nothing can stand against them, and their freedom will not be taken away. So those are the updates in how, those are the things I want to share with you all in how we can overcome some of the really dark things that are happening in our society, whether it is gun violence or war in the United States, or poverty on the rise, or even some of the restrictions that we don't need, or things that you don't want that you feel like are turned against you. Those are some of the tips that I want to share with you guys. So it's all wonderful things in how we can go forward, because going forward in 2022, with the society changing and turning back around and people standing up and making these changes are what will make every humanity go forward. Thank you and have a wonderful weekend.
This is Sam Daly of Cultural Group Benefit Company, a group life insurance designed for cultural association. We've done this program now for 21 years. The program is approved in 46 states. It's a group life insurance program. I want to emphasize it's a group life insurance program for cultural association, guaranteed without any pre-existing medical conditions. Please, cultural community, there's no need for GoFundMe. We have a program designed for cultural association. Please, if you want to know more about this program, visit our website, www.culturalgroupbenefits.com, or call me directly, 763-593-5107. Thank you.
Du nouveau à Minneapolis, Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.